Hey everyone, it's James with geometricharts.com. It's September 28th, about 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So first of all, the video is not investment advice, but one thing I do want to say, as I talked in my last video, was Bitcoin ready to topple? Like, that was the headline. And I do think that is still in play. However, I do think there is some upside in the near future, probably throughout the weekend, although I do think it's going to have a lot of churning, meaning a lot of up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And you're probably going to have to wear a neck brace if you're going to watch the price action over the weekend. Now, let me kind of explain why I still have this bearish sentiment, even though price is pushing up, even though people believe this is the base of the future and Bitcoin is going to launch to $700 trillion come end of the year, and etc. Right? So the reason why is what I see happening in Bitcoin is there's a lot of pressure building up here. I see the buyers stepping up, but every time they do, they're basically being obliterated by sellers time and time again. And they're trying to get up, and they're trying to get up, and then knock down, and trying to get up and knock down, and trying to get up and knock down. And you can just see the pressure, the selling pressure. It's being like cooked and cooked. And now we're like in this little pressure cooker right here where there's so much energy building up toward the tail end of this move that eventually it's going to have to give out. And when I do draw this out, right, like as this triangle, here we go, or we could call this the UFO to the moon, we're spending so much time at the bottom right here, right? A lot of time at the bottom. And what that tells me is if all the energy is pointing this way, then it must want to go that way, right? Like the path of everything is pointing this way. Everything wants to move down. That's why I have this view. Not only with that, but when I look at just like the simple RSI right here, as price is heading higher, it's getting weaker. As it headed higher, it got weaker. Okay? So again, heading higher, it got weaker. Heading higher, it's getting weaker. I do think it's heading higher. However, I do not believe the strength is there. The volume is very weak. What volume comes in gets washed right back out. The only time I see the volume sticking is to the downside. That's the only time I ever see it stick and the volume increase. So to me, it's showing there are more sellers than there are buyers, and the only buyers hanging around in here are probably new retail traders lured into it. The market's more than likely being propped up by the exchanges or whomever is doing it. More than likely, I think it's the exchanges. But if they give out, and this gives out, it's going to be a brutal sell-off in this market. There is a lot of pent-up energy building against this support zone. And if you tilt your head to the left a little bit, you'll see it just straight, right? If we could just, I wish I could like rotate this chart just a little bit, but you can see where there's a lot of pressure. There's a clear support level, which if it holds up, it could provide a base to launch off of, but all I see is lower highs, and those drops are becoming more aggressive to the downside. So we're at an area to where Bitcoin is going to make up its mind, and it's either going to spike higher, clear out this 7,400 area, okay? And if it clears out 7,400 and there is volume behind it and there is strength in the indicators like the RSI, stochastics, MACD, whatever you want to use, mainly just I'll look at the RSI, but if there's strength following this move, there's that volume behind it, that volume is sticking, not washing out, something is changing for the better in this market. If not, we're just churning higher for the next dump. And the name of the game is pump and dump, as it's been for a very long time in this market. For, since basically the 6,000 bottom, it's been pump and dump central. This, not only in Bitcoin, but in the alts. We just saw with Ripple. Ripple pumped, dumped, and now it's kind of fizzling out. Ripple led the move up ahead of time, and now it's just fizzling out and dying off. If Ripple starts to die off, more than likely it's going to be one of the leading indicators for this market. So again, it's not investment advice, but there's a reason why I have this bearish outlook on Bitcoin. I see just too much time spent toward the 6,000 level, and every single time it's being pumped from this level, that volume that comes in to pump price up is being almost immediately washed right back out. And I've watched this happen one too many times to fall prey to this false move that keeps being created in Bitcoin. And that's the reason why I talk the way I do. And I know it doesn't sell. It's not sexy to hear that Bitcoin potentially has more downside than it does upside, given the environment that we're in right now. But it is what it is, you know. So again, if we start making higher highs, breaking above 7,400, the volume's sticking, everything's going along, humming correctly, everything's in sync, then great, you know. But until then, I'm going to maintain my bearish outlook on Bitcoin, although I do think there is more upside in the future, and it may even crack this area right here. I just think it's just way too weak at this area, at this time. So that's the analysis. I do think there's more downside than there is upside. I do think once we start to enter this zone down here, about 6,250, 6,300, that will be the nail in the coffin for Bitcoin, meaning the drop. Not that Bitcoin's going to zero, but I do think there could be another 1,000-point drop or etc., like we've seen in the past in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pushes higher and it can successfully recapture 7,400 and obviously have that follow through and volume, the indicators, etc., then that'll change my mind. But if not, and everything continues the way it is, I definitely think there's more downside to Bitcoin and the altcoins in general. So hopefully if you like the video, you like the content, like, comment, subscribe, follow. If you're looking for something more in depth where I talk about price points, stop losses, etc., like stuff like that, I cover Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over at geometriccharts.com. But other than that, have a great day, great night, depending on where you are in the world. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support. And I'll talk to everybody on Monday. And if you do like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. If I do not comment back to you, do not take it as a form of disrespect. I'm just extremely busy with everything that I have going on in my life. So again, I thank you for your time. Thank you for your support.